Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome to today's live transfer Manchester United news show. Who are we going to be talking about in today's video? Of course, Varane and Camavinga. We'll touch upon a few other players. Obviously, the England game is in about an hour, but, it's the Varane and Camavinga. It was Alice Talks Sancho. It's now Alice Talks Varane, and it's going to become Alice Talks Camavinga. But there's some big updates regarding Varane and Camavinga. Rumours that Man United put a bid in. News that we are leading the race for both players. Mostly positive reports about Manchester United signing these players. And Fabrizio Romano just did a Twitch stream for his Here We Go podcast, giving some more positive indication about Varane and Camavinga to Man United and providing the latest news in that. But what is the latest news regarding Manchester United, Varane and Camavinga? I will get straight into that first. Then we'll be talking about, I think, Brandon Williams was going on loan to Southampton. Obviously, the England-Denmark game. We're going to talk about some comments Jose Mourinho made. Grealish not starting, giving you my thoughts on the England-Denmark lineup and all of that. So a lot of news coming in, but let's talk about Varane and Camavinga. They're the two players that we signed Sancho. We want Varane, Camavinga, and I think we want to know what's happening with Pogba. I think we're in the situation this transfer window is like we want to sign Varane, we want to sign Camavinga, and we ideally want to just have an indication what's happening with Pogba. And some big updates regarding that. So now Marca came out and basically was saying that Manchester United have put in a bid for Varane of, I think, £43 million. I believe that is what was set out from Marca. Now, is Marca the most reliable source in the world? No, but what it is. Marca said that Manchester United and Real Madrid remain some distance apart in their price for Varane. Madrid are not in a hurry to sell and will wait for an offer around £51.4 million. Man United's previous offer was £38 million. So Marca is saying that Man United made a £38 million offer for Varane. That was rejected because Real Madrid are holding out £51.4 million. Now, when Man United signed Sancho, we made a bid. It was rejected. We waited a week or two. We went in with a second bid. It was accepted. They're saying we've made a bid for Varane. It was it's rejected. So maybe in a week or two, we make a second bid. That gets accepted. Now, there's rumours that we put a £30 million bid in for Camavinga. Again, just rumours. And there's a lot of reports saying we're going to go in and put a bid for Camavinga. L'Equipe, which is a pretty reliable source when it comes to French news, says a fee of €40 million. Could be enough for Edouard Camavinga. Manchester United are leading the race to sign him. So there's rumours that Man United have put in a bid for Varane and rumours that we're about to put in a bid for Camavinga, but I'm sure both those bids will be rejected and all of that. And Fabrizio Romano said that he's not aware of a bid, like a significant bid yet. But I am going to get into everything we know about Varane and Camavinga. So let me start with what is the latest on Raphael Varane. So Varane wants to come to Manchester United. He wants to leave Real Madrid. Personal terms are not an issue. They've pretty much been agreed and all of that. United want Varane. Real Madrid have realised, Varane's probably not going to stay. He wants to leave. Real Madrid want Varane to stay, but he's basically going to leave. So Real Madrid have to sell Varane this summer or they risk losing him on a free. They won't want to lose him on a free because they need to fund deals like Mbappe. Now, Manchester United are leading the race for Raphael Varane. PSG are completely out the Varane race. So it's very, very likely that United could get Varane and stuff, but it's all about can United and Real Madrid agree on a fee. It's very, very clear that Varane isn't using us for a new contract. He actually wants to go to a new league. He wants a new challenge. Personal terms aren't an issue. It's been unofficially agreed. We'll pay Varane's wages. He wants to come to United. It's all about, it's either the situation with Varane is basically either Real Madrid can convince him to stay by giving a massive fucking wage bill and massive fucking wages, which I don't think they can do because of the financial crisis in Spain, or Varane comes to Man United because we pay the money for him. Now, if Man United don't pay the money for Varane, then, he could go to Chelsea or something like that. But the situation is, I think Varane to Man United looks 80% likely. It looks very, very likely. Personal terms isn't an issue. Varane does want to come. He's not using us. United are in a strong position because Real Madrid will have to sell if they don't want to lose on the free. We've beaten out the competition of PSG because they've got Ramos, and that is sort of the situation on Varane. Now, the Camavinga latest is more that Man United are in for Camavinga. The Camavinga deal has nothing to do with Paul Pogba. Romano confirmed that. Camavinga is one of our top targets. We're about to put in our first bid for him, I believe, of €30 million, which will probably be rejected. Then we'll up the bid. It's believed that we will be able to sign him for €40 million, which is a fucking bargain price. Real Madrid and PSG are also in the race for Camavinga, and with Raphael Varane, we kind of won that race. But, for Camavinga, we've got to compete with PSG and Real Madrid to get him. Real Madrid have more financial issues, so it's probably between Manchester United and PSG again. And again, with Camavinga, personal terms won't be an issue. Camavinga likes the idea of coming to Manchester United. He wants to leave RENNES and will be open to move to Manchester United. It's just can Man United sort of beat out the competition for Camavinga. I will read out a few live chats in a minute, but I want to get into everything Fabrizio Romano came out to today regarding Camavinga and Varane. So let me just get into the news that's come out from Fabrizio Romano, and then I will address some live chats, give you the latest, all of that, and we'll talk a little bit about the England game as well. So Fabrizio Romano literally came out half an hour ago on his Here We Go podcast and said Manchester United are currently the front runners to sign Edouard Camavinga. As we know, Man United are the favourites to sign Camavinga. But Romano said, but it's still an open race. United know Camavinga would love to move to the Premier League. The club see him as a perfect long-time signing, but he's also ready now. So basically, what Fabrizio Romano said is Man United see Camavinga as a perfect long-term signing. They think he's ready now, and that Man United are the favourites to sign Camavinga, and Camavinga would happily join United. Personal terms won't be an issue, and Camavinga would happily go to the Premier League. So Fabrizio Romano sat here confirmed United want Camavinga. Camavinga's happy to come to Man United, but he has said we are the front runners, but there's still competition. So it's like Camavinga does want to come to us. We've just got to convince him to come to us over Real Madrid and PSG. And PSG, I think Real Madrid are out of that race because of financial trouble. I think, we know Camavinga likes us, but we've got to tell him why he should come to us and not PSG. I think that's what Fabrizio Romano is kind of saying. Fabrizio Romano also said at the moment Manchester United are the front runners to sign Camavinga, but he did remind us that PSG are still interested. And Romano also said that Rennes would be open to negotiate for around 30 to 35 million euros for Camavinga, as he'll be out of contract next year. So that's 25 to 30 million pounds that Manchester United could sign Camavinga for. And Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that, Romano said that Sancho would be about 77 million pounds. Fabrizio Romano said Sancho will be 77 million pounds. That's what Dortmund wants. We paid 72 million plus 5 million as an add-on, so 77 million pounds. And he was right with the Sancho price. And Romano said that 30 to 35 million euros, which is 25 to 30 million pounds, would be enough to sign Camavinga because he's out of contract next year. So Rennes have to sell him because they'll lose him on a free. And he also again reminds us that Manchester United are progressing with contacts. Camavinga would have to join the Premier League. So Fabrizio Romano's confirmed that we are the favourites to sign Camavinga. He's confirmed the price of Camavinga. He's confirmed that Camavinga would like to come to Manchester United. He's confirmed that personal terms won't be an issue between Manchester United and Camavinga. And he's confirmed that Manchester United are in contact with Rennes, are in contact with Camavinga and are trying to progress this move. So he's basically confirmed the interest that is likely to happen, the price, and that we're actually going in for the deal. So big news from Fabrizio Romano about Camavinga, and obviously he's a tier 1 very reliable source. And L'Equipe, that I think is quite a reliable source, kind of say a fee of 40 million euros would be enough to get Camavinga. Fabrizio Romano says 35 million euros, L'Equipe says 40 million euros, so it's between 30 to 40 million to get Camavinga done. Now, that is the main transfer situation regarding Camavinga. Fabrizio Romano came out and said that. As I said, Marca reported that we made a £38 million bid for Varane. That's rejected. Varane are going to see if they can get 51 million for Man United. Sorry, I've completely fucked up. Marca reporting that we made a £38 million bid for Raphael Varane, but Real Madrid said no because they want £51 million. Now, Fabrizio Romano hasn't really jumped on this, so I'm not going to report too much what Marcus said. That's with a pinch of salt, but apparently we made a bid for Varane and it was rejected. That is sort of the latest coming in from Marca. Now, Fabrizio Romano also did touch upon Varane just a minute ago in his Here We Go podcast. He was also talking about Varane, and he said Real Madrid is waiting to talk to Varane and his agents, but Real Madrid feel that Varane is going to leave. They know Varane wants something different. They know Varane wants to try something new, again confirming that Varane does want to leave. And I think the situation is we're really worried that Varane's using us for a new contract, but Fabrizio Romano has literally said personal terms won't be an issue. Varane wants to leave, and I think it's genuine that Varane does want to leave Real Madrid and he does want a new challenge. Romano literally came out and said about 20 minutes ago regarding Raphael Varane that there's no agreement yet between Manchester United and Real Madrid. Talks are not at an advanced stage, but United will see what Real Madrid want as a transfer fee. So the situation with Raphael Varane, Fabrizio Romano saying is, look, Varane wants to leave. Man United want Varane. Personal terms won't be an issue between Man United and Varane. That's basically done. United are waiting to see how much Real Madrid want for Varane, because United will probably want to say buy Varane for 40, 50 million pounds max. But if Real Madrid are going to be like 70 million pounds, United can be like, no, we're not spending 70 million pounds on you. We'll go for Jules Koundé for 60 million pounds. I think United just want to know what Real Madrid's price is for Varane and see if they can bring it down. Because at the end of the day, Real Madrid have to sell Varane. He does not want to say they will lose him on a free. They will lose him on a free. They have to sell Varane. And United are like, if Real Madrid are going to ask for something crazy like 60, 70 million, what is the point? They're probably just waiting out to see if they can drag down the price for Raphael Varane. I think that is the situation with Varane and all of that. And another thing that was said about Raphael Varane from a pretty reliable journalist is Dean Jones. He went on the Football Terrace and he said Raphael Varane has assured Manchester United that he is serious and open to leaving Real Madrid and potentially joining Manchester United. The deal is progressing slowly. United do have other options if it falls through. So Dean Jones, pretty reliable journalist, said that Varane has told United he wants to come and he's reassured them he's not using them for a contract. So that is sort of the situation with Varane and Camavinga. Someone's just said, has Bruno signed a new deal? Well, I'm not 100% sure if Bruno signed a new deal, but he might have signed a new deal because I know that was a possibility. Now, Mohamed Basfini, who very, very reliable journalist, has said if there's a possibility of Rennes selling Camavinga, it will be for 40 to 50 million euros. So he's put the price tag for Camavinga a little bit higher. And then Mohamed Basfini also said that Edouard Camavinga does not want to renew his contract with Rennes, but Rennes don't want to lose money on him, so he's probably going to leave for about 40 million euros. And that's a very, very reliable journalist. No Grealish starting for England tonight, but I will talk about that later on in the show. So please hit that like button, guys. Of course, subscribe down below, share this video, to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Please do subscribe down below. Someone's asked my prediction, England versus Denmark. I'm going 2-0 England. Let me know your predictions for England versus Denmark down below. Romano said it could be 30 million euros we could sign. Romano says 30 million euros, and L'Equipe and Mohamed Basfini say 40 million euros. So I think about 30 million quid is how much it's going to cost United to get Camavinga, which I think it would be a fucking bargain. Nick Morris says PSG are not after Varane unless they sell Marquinhos or Kimpembe now that they just wrapped up Ramos, which is correct. Man United are completely leading the race for Varane. It was between Man United and PSG to get Varane. PSG got Ramos. Man United are open in the air to get Varane if they can agree with Real Madrid. Varane wants to come to us, personal terms agreed. If Man United can agree with Real Madrid, they can get Varane. The situation with Camavinga is between Man United and PSG to get Camavinga. So it's going to be harder to get Camavinga than get Varane, even though Camavinga could potentially be cheaper. Adam B72 says Camavinga, Varane, Sancho, and keeping Pogba would be a good transfer window, Alice. And I agree. I think that would be a very, very good transfer window. Hoping that Camavinga does play and not become a Donny van der Bench. Any questions for me, please do pop them down below in the live chat. I'm going to try and read out and answer as many questions as possible. So any updates on transfer news, any questions for me, pop them down below. And of course, like, subscribe, and share this video. Stay subscribed to the channel and all of that. Man United should sign Varane, Camavinga, and concentrate on the Man United women's team stability. Fair enough, fair enough. And Jadon Sancho says that England Euro 2020 image, though I'm dead. England could be winning Euro 2020. Is it coming home, guys? Is it coming home? Andrew talked about some links with Chelsea to Camavinga, but coming to us makes way more sense as we have much less competition in midfield to get minutes. Yeah, I think Chelsea got Jorginho, Kovacic, and Kante. So Camavinga would, we've got Fred. We have the worst midfield in the Big Six. And do Arsenal even count? Actually, no. Who has the worst midfield? Arsenal or Man United? Because attacking wise, we've got Bruno and Pogba, but I mean we've got the worst CDM in the Big Six. Chelsea don't need a midfielder in my opinion. I think Chelsea need a centre back and all of that. But yeah. 25 million is a Varga for Camavinga. We can't miss out. Yeah, I mean, Fabrizio Romano is saying 25 million, but other sources saying 35 million. So I'm going to go on a bet and say 30 million is enough to get Camavinga. And I think 50 million euros is enough to get Varane. And actually, talking about Arsenal, because I love to banter Arsenal in my videos. I can't go a video without trying to banter Arsenal. But Arsenal are going to get Ben White for 50 million quid. We're going to get Varane for 50 million euros. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we might not. So 50 million euros is like 42 million pounds. So Man United could generally sign Jadon Sancho and Raphael Varane for less money than Arsenal brought Nicolas Pepe and Ben White for. What banter. What banter. Always makes me laugh. You got to banter Arsenal with that. Man United can challenge for a Premier League title. We sign Varane and Camavinga. I think if we sign Varane, Camavinga, and we keep Pogba, I do believe we can challenge for a title. It will still be hard to win a title, especially if City, Kane and Grealish. But I think Camavinga, keep Pogba and Varane. I think we can challenge for a title. Do I think Varane will happen? You know what? I am 80% confident that Manchester United will sign Varane. The latest on Varane is Fabrizio Romano has confirmed time and time again that Varane does want to come to Man United. Fabrizio Romano said personal terms will not be an issue between Man United and Varane. Varane wants to come to Man United. Man United will pay the wages Varane wants. Man United want Varane. Varane is our #1 transfer target. We dropped interest in Pau Torres. We dropped interest in Jules Koundé because we believe we're going to get Varane. Varane wants us. Personal terms unofficially agreed. Varane wants to come. Wages isn't an issue. It's now up to Man United and Real Madrid to agree on a fee for Raphael Varane. And as Romano said, Man United are waiting to see how much Real Madrid demand for Varane. But the situation is, as much as Real Madrid would like to keep Raphael Varane, they will lose him for a free next summer. They can't afford to lose Varane for a free next summer. And Varane has said to Real Madrid he wants to leave. So Real Madrid have to sell Raphael Varane this summer or offer him ridiculous wages to make him stay. And if Real Madrid sell Varane, this summer, you know, Man United can say, you want 70 million for Varane, but we ain't going to pay more than 50 million because he has 1 year left on his deal. And I think that's what United are doing. They're waiting to see how much Real Madrid want for Varane, and then they're going to put in a bid a little bit under. There's rumours that we put in a £38 million bid that was rejected according to Marca. And I think, you know what, we can get Varane for 50 million euros. And I think we're 80% likely to get Varane. I think unless Chelsea swoop in or unless Real Madrid offer him ridiculous wages, I think Varane to Manchester United is very, very likely. I think Varane could actually happen before we go on pre-season tour, which is the 18th of July, because if you look at the centre-back options for pre-season tour, Phil Jones might have to play in pre-season because, you know, Mcguire will be on a rest for the first game. Now, we don't want to see Phil Jones. Why don't we offer Real Madrid Phil Jones? Why don't we offer Real Madrid Phil Jones? But they wouldn't take it, but we need to get rid of him. So I'm 80% certain that we will get Varane. I could be wrong. I said last summer I was 80% certain we get Sancho, and I was wrong. But I did say a month ago, I believe Manchester United will sign Jadon Sancho, then go all out for Varane, and it'll be between PSG and Man United to get Varane. Well, PSG out the Varane race, so could be correct with my prediction of Varane and Sancho. I did predict Sancho a month ago, but that wasn't me being a genius. I think everyone knew we were going to get Sancho. It was just a matter of when. But I do think Varane is quite a likely deal. And as I said, with Camavinga, we are leading the race for Camavinga. Fabrizio Romano's confirmed Manchester United are leading the race for Camavinga. He said that Man United could get Camavinga for around £30 million. It doesn't matter if Paul Pogba stays or go. United want Camavinga. Camavinga would happily agree personal terms with Man United. That's not an issue. So again, we know Man United are leading the race for Camavinga. Camavinga likes the idea of moving to Manchester United. It will cost Man United £30 million. United will go for him whether Pogba stays or goes. It's just, can Man United beat PSG to Camavinga? Well, we beat PSG to Varane because PSG settled with Ramos. So it's between Man United and PSG to get Camavinga. But two very, very possible deals. Two very, very possible deals. If PSG comes in the race for Camavinga, then we are done already. The thing is, yes and no. Like, I think you've got to remember that the English league, yes, PSG are probably better than us, but the English league has more attraction than the French league. You know, if I was Camavinga, I'd rather play in the Premier League than Ligue 1, you know, because Mbappe went to PSG, now he's stuck there. They don't want to let him leave. You know, Mbappe wants to leave. All the best players don't want to play in Ligue 1. And if I was Camavinga's sitting there thinking, okay, if he's at PSG, he's got to get him past that Portuguese CDM, I keep forgetting his name, Paredes, Herrera, Draxler, Verratti, Wijnaldum, Marquinhos. There's so many players in the midfield that Camavinga would have to compete with if he went to PSG. Whereas United, he's got to compete with McFred. He's got, like, you know, we've got Bruno and Pogba, then you've got to compete with McFred for that third slot because Matic is done. And if you're Camavinga, you're thinking, okay, well, United have a lot of good young players, and we do have a good knack for getting young players and making them mature into great players. If Camavinga comes to United, he could play next to Paul Pogba, who is his idol. He's French, a mentor, you know. He could work in that pivot with Paul Pogba. You know, Didier Deschamps compared Camavinga to Kante, and Pogba plays very well in the pivot with Kante. We could, you know, convert Camavinga into that Kante role playing with Pogba. And, you know, he's in the Premier League, and, you know, Man United are a bigger club than PSG. Yes, PSG have been better than us for the last 10 years, but we are a bigger club than PSG. So I think, yes, the only lure about PSG is it's in his country and it's a safe option. But I think, you know, we could beat PSG for Camavinga, but it is between us and PSG to get Camavinga. And Andrew says that Camavinga is definitely an exciting player. When footballers have that many minutes and experience of senior football at such a young age, usually indicates a special talent in the making. Yeah, 18 years of age and playing a lot of minutes. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. This is the daily Manchester United transfer news update. On my channel, I do daily Man United transfer news updates. We're talking a lot about Varane and Camavinga. We'll be talking about the future of Paul Pogba and all of that. So please do subscribe to the channel if you've not seen my face before, if you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United transfer news. And then when pre-season starts, you know, Jadon Sancho will probably be wearing a Man United shirt in 2 weeks on pre-season. So I'll be doing analysis on how the new signings do in pre-season. I'll be talking about all the latest transfer news, what Fabrizio Romano said, and more. So any questions for me, please do pop them down below in the live chat. We need Camavinga and Varane. Someone thinks the Varane deal seems unlikely. Like, I'm going to be optimistic with the Varane deal, but I think we're going to get Varane this summer. As I said, you know, we've completely dropped interest in Jules Koundé and Pau Torres because United must be confident they're going to get Varane. Varane and Man United, personal terms unofficially agreed, not an issue. Varane wants to come. Like, Varane wants to come. It's been confirmed time and time again from Fabrizio Romano. Varane wants to leave and go to the Premier League. Man United are the favourites to sign Varane. Would beat PSG to sign Varane. We're the only team properly in the race to sign Varane. Varane wants to come to us. Personal terms unofficially agreed. Real Madrid have to sell or they lose him on a free. Unless Real Madrid offer Varane ridiculous wages, I think we're going to get Varane. I think we will get Varane this summer and all of that. George Kessler says, don't underestimate Ollie's faith in McFred. Seems like he'll pick them over anyone. That's my only fear about signing Camavinga, is I feel like if we sign Camavinga, Ollie would still start McFred. That's why I love Jules Koundé, and I'd actually sign Jules Koundé over Raphael Varane. I think my first choice centre back is Jules Koundé, followed by Varane. But I think if we sign Jules Koundé, Ollie would still play Lindelof and Mcguire. And as much as I love Camavinga and I want Camavinga to come, I think if we sign Camavinga, you still get McTominay and Fred over Camavinga, which is a shame. But, that's what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer likes. Fair enough. Personally, I don't agree, but that is sort of the situation, is what it is. Andrew says, if Varane gets back training with Raul, it will make the deal so much more difficult, back with his mates and Carlo begging him to sign. We need to act quickly. Yeah, you make a good point there. I think United do need to act a little bit quicker for Varane. The situation is Varane is on holiday, and Fabrizio Romano came out and said last week, Man United are in for the Varane deal, but it's a matter of weeks, not days. A week ago, Fabrizio Romano said this Varane deal, it's not going to happen in the next few days. Man United are going to wait until Varane's finished his holiday to make a move for him. So the thing with Varane is, I think if I was going to predict when we sign Varane, I'd say July 18th. We get Varane done July 18th. I think in a week's time, these Varane rumours would have heated up massively, when he's coming back to Real Madrid training. But, I think with Varane, United are going to wait a week or two before they massively go in for him. Apparently, they put in a bid, it's been rejected, but this is the situation with United, is we're really strongly in for a player, but we'll wait a week or two before we put in that bid and we get it done, just to get a few media hype around, a few clicks, and just, we see if we wait a little bit longer if the price goes down. I think United are monitoring Varane, they're monitoring Camavinga, but I don't think anything will happen till mid-end July. If you want my honest opinion, I don't think anything will happen till mid-end July. But I think Varane is very, very likely, and I think can beat PSG to Camavinga. I think we can also get Camavinga. Nick Morris says, still don't know why we have gone in for Pjanic yet, leaving Barcelona on a free, only 31 plus, better than McFred. I mean, look, to be fair, if we can't get a Camavinga, I go for Pjanic, That midfield is fucking woeful. We do not want to see McFred next season. Look, we've got Jadon Sancho, we've got a good fullbacks, we've got a good centre-back, we might get another good centre-back in Raphael Varane. We've got Pogba, we've got Bruno, but we've got no CDM. Is Pjanic an out-and-out CDM? No, but would he work better in the pivot than McFred? Yes. I think the situation with Man United is we have to get a midfielder. Now, Camavinga, I'd be so happy if we get Camavinga and all of that. Whether he starts week in, week out is a different question. But look, we can sign Sancho and we can sign Varane. And Sancho's done, Varane is very, very close. But I think you have to judge this window off a midfielder. If PSG do beat us to Camavinga, we can't just stay there. We've got to go, shit, PSG beat us to Camavinga. Who are we going to go all out for now? Because the only CDM we've been properly linked to is Camavinga. And it's not really an out-and-out CDM. He's a pivot box-to-box small player. I obviously did a video on him yesterday. United have really got to think, shit, if PSG beats to Camavinga, who do we go for? Because apparently we want a CDM this summer, and it doesn't matter if Pogba stays or goes. Romano said United do want a centre-back and a CDM. Now Sancho's done that. Centre-back's Varane. That CDM's Camavinga. We're winning the race for Varane, but we've got to compete with PSG for Camavinga. Now, Man United, as Fabrizio Romano said today, are the front runners to sign Camavinga. We are the favourites to sign Camavinga. That we are leading the race for Camavinga, and Camavinga wants to come to Man United. Personal terms wouldn't be an issue, but it's United. When United compete with another team for a player, we often lose. If Man United and Man City want the same player, even though Man United's a bigger club and Man United could offer them bigger wages, Man City are more likely to get that player unless United overpay for that player. That's the situation. But yeah, I agree. We need a playmaker CDM, not a sitting CDM, says this 08. I think we need a sitting CDM because, look, Pogba and Bruno are playmakers. You just need a CDM that's going to sit and have Pogba and Bruno ahead, in my personal opinion. And Lou Manu says, Alice, if Locatelli and Sterling go to Arsenal, should we go for Ronaldo as Pogba might go to PSG? Look, I don't think Ronaldo's not really a Pogba replacement. I mean, I'll take Ronaldo back at Manchester United, of course. But for me, we need Varane, we need Camavinga, and if Pogba leaves, I think you need to go for a Declan Rice. I think you can't replace Paul Pogba with one player. You need two midfielders to replace Paul Pogba. Mustaf says he wants Declan Rice. He reminds me of Raul Keane. The thing is, if we keep Paul Pogba, I actually think Declan Rice would be really, really good because I know Declan Rice doesn't offer anything going forward, but for me, that doesn't matter. If we can keep Paul Pogba, I think Declan Rice and then Pogba and Bruno as 2-8s is the perfect midfield because Declan Rice does all the defensive duties, so he frees up Pogba, so we get the best out of Pogba. Bruno's obviously fantastic. Boom. With Camavinga, he's not as defensively sound as Rice, so you play Camavinga and Pogba in the pivot, but Camavinga could roll into that sort of Kante role. Didier Deschamps compared Camavinga and Kante, and, we saw how good Pogba is next to Kante. Camavinga could roam into that player, and, we've got a pivot for the future, but then if Paul Pogba leaves in a year's time for a free, it's not a pivot for the future. I think the thing is, the CDM we need, I think a lot of it just depends on if Paul Pogba stays or goes. And I really hope Paul Pogba stays, because the only team that can get Paul Pogba right now is PSG. And I'm sorry, Paul Pogba, why the fuck would you want to go to the French league? Maybe when you're 33, go to the French league. But that is the worst league. The Bundesliga is better. You know, if the three best leagues are the Premier League, the Serie A, and La Liga. I think they're the three most competitive leagues, because let's be honest, I think Bundesliga is a great league to watch, brilliant for young talents, but it's buying. You know what I mean? I just don't get why you'd want to go to the French league. I don't get it, but whatever. Should we keep Pogba this season and decide to go on a free next season, or should we need him this season for Champions League for sure? Look, this is the thing. I think the situation with Paul Pogba is Man United are going to try and keep Paul Pogba at all costs. I think the situation is Man United are generally willing to risk losing Pogba on a free next summer to keep him for another year to see if he signs the deal. Now, this is my honest situation on Paul Pogba. We either get a team like PSG offer something like £50 million and we go sell Paul Pogba because we've been offered a pretty nice price for Paul Pogba, or we keep Paul Pogba for the season, and the only way Paul Pogba stays and signs a new deal, because we are in talks with Paul Pogba over him signing a new deal, is if United sign Varane, if United sign Camavinga, and if United sign Jadon Sancho, Paul Pogba might sit there going, wow, this team can compete for stuff. This team can compete in the Champions League. This team should be competing for the Premier League. Paul Pogba might put pen to paper and stay at Man United. But if we fail to get Varane, we come in with Pau Torres, we don't get Camavinga, we don't sign any midfielder, and we go into next season with Sancho being the only improvement, Pogba might be like, I'm going to leave on free because this team ain't going to challenge. You know, that you couldn't get Varane, you couldn't get a CDM, you clearly needed them. You were in an open race for Varane, but you still failed. This club is shambles. You know, yes, John Murtough's coming. Yes, you've got a sporting director, but Paul Pogba might, but this club is shambles. I think Paul Pogba's future depends on, A, can we get a shit ton of money from him this summer? I don't think we're going to sell him. I think he's going to stay. I think he's going to stay for a year. If we have a good transfer window, if we're looking good by Christmas, he'll put pen to paper and sign. If we're not having a good transfer window, I think he'll leave on a free. I think that's the situation with Paul Pogba. Completely varies, if you want my honest opinion. I just fucking hope that we get Paul Pogba. Now, Fabrizio Romano also said if Manchester United sign Camavinga, then it's very unlikely we will go for Declan Rice, which makes sense. And Fabrizio Romano also talked about Diego Dalot on his Here We Go podcast, saying Man United want an important bid for Diego Dalot, otherwise he'll stay at the club. Now, the situation is we were really linked to Trippier at the beginning of the transfer window. Atletico Madrid won't sell Trippier for less than £30 million, so we're not going for Trippier. So I think the situation is, because our three main targets were Sancho, Varane, and Trippier at the start of the window. Our three main targets are Sancho, Varane, Camavinga. Maybe because Dalot's going to stay, we've accepted we can't get Trippier. I think the situation is Sancho's done, Varane very, very close, and we are leading the race for Camavinga. So, yeah, I mean, look, I'd be happy for Dalot. I think he's a good player. I just think Dalot would probably want game time for his own career if you look at it as well. Varane is an important signing. I agree Varane is an important signing. Someone says I should invest in a microphone. I should actually, to be fair, but it's just because I don't have enough HDMI ports. I think Varane would be a very, very good signing for Manchester United, because I think if we get Varane, we won't play McFred. I think Oli only plays McFred to protect Lindelof and Mcguire, because they're not good enough, and anyone with eyes knows that McFred's that worst pairing. But the only thing you get with McFred is clean sheets. You know, no other defensive midfield partnership can guarantee you clean sheets like McFred, because they just sit back and do nothing going forward. Now, if you notice, when Bailly and Mcguire play, we don't play McFred. When Mcguire and Tuanzebe play, we don't play McFred. We play Fred and Pogba, or Pogba and Matic. You know, I think you sign Varane, that stops McFred. Whether we get a CDM or not, I think if you get Varane, and because of that pace, you won't have McFred sitting ahead of them. So I think one good thing about signing Varane is I think there'll be no more McFred. And I think the second good thing about signing Raphael Varane is that, you know, United will play better football. You know, he's quicker. He will improve Harry Maguire. You know, Maguire looks 10 times better next to John Stones than he looks next to Lindelof. Maguire looks better next to Bailly than he does next to Lindelof. It's all about a centre-back partnership. And because Varane has that pace and experience and he's just better than Lindelof, I think Maguire will look better for him. So you improve Maguire, you don't play McFred. Because he's got pace, you play a higher line. So Man United higher up the pitch, pressing higher up the pitch, create more chances. So one centre-back in Varane can improve Man United, not only going forward, it can also improve the midfield because you won't have to pay that pivot to protect them. It improves the defence line because he's experienced, he's got pace. And it also improves the attack because if you have a quick centre-back, you can play a high line, which means the attack are higher up the pitch and on the ball more higher up the pitch. So, you know, there's a lot of benefits from signing a centre-back, like more than a lot of people would think and all of that. So Verratti, come on here, what do you think? Look, I like Marco Verratti, but I don't think we'll go for him. Niall Kane says, Alice, did you see Spain-Italy last night? What a game. I felt like it was a fun, in my opinion. Spain-Italy was a fantastic game. Obviously, England-Denmark coming up, guys. I do want to touch on the England-Denmark game. I know it's a Man United news show. So the starting lineup for England-Denmark, you've got Pickford in goal. You've got Kyle Walker right back, Luke Shaw as left back. And look, Jose Mourinho came out and said, Kyle Walker's been so fantastic for England. He's been their best fullback, so brilliant. Kyle Walker's been amazing, and Luke Shaw's improving. Mourinho said that Kyle Walker's been amazing and Luke Shaw's improving. I'm sorry, Kyle Walker has been probably average. I think Reece James is better. I think Trippier is better. I think Kyle Walker's been okay. He's not been shit, but he's not been good. Kyle Walker's been bang average for England, and Luke Shaw's been fucking amazing. But Jose Mourinho can't admit he's wrong. He's saying Kyle Walker's been amazing and Luke Shaw's improving. What an idiot. Stones and Maguire's the centre-backs. You've got Declan Rice, Carbon Phillips. Mount coming in at number 10. You know, Grealish prefers Mount to Grealish. Sorry, Southgate prefers Mount to Grealish. So Mount at 10. Saka in for Sancho, Raheem on the left wing, and Kane up front. Personally, myself, I play Jadon Sancho over Bukayo Saka, and I put Grealish in for either Mount or Sterling. I think because Sterling's scoring goals, you can't drop him. But I just think Grealish is better than Sterling. And as I said, that left-hand side when Luke Shaw and Grealish were playing together was fantastic. Now, I think maybe move Sterling to the right and play Grealish on the left. But for me, I still say it. Grealish has to start because Grealish and Luke Shaw are the two best creators England have. Grealish created the most chances per minute in the Premier League last season. Luke Shaw has 3 assists, could have had 4 or 5 assists when you actually look at how many chances he's made. You know, he could have got an assist on Sancho, that game. He could have got an assist on Sterling. I think the Scotland game was it. You know, and when Luke Shaw and Jack Grealish play on that left-hand side, Harry Kane gets chances. Because, you know, when we beat Germany 2-0, it went Grealish, Shaw, Sterling goal, and then it went Shaw, Grealish, Kane goal. You know, for me, I don't get how Jack Grealish doesn't get minutes. Like, he's better than Mason Mount and he's better than Sterling. I understand you can't drop Sterling because he's scoring goals, but move Sterling to the right. Bukayo Saka, yeah, he's looked good, but he's not Jack Grealish. You know, if you can have Bukayo Saka on the pitch or you can have Jack Grealish on the pitch, you're going to have Jack Grealish because I don't get how he doesn't start. I think no one gets how Jack Grealish doesn't start, but Jack Grealish and Luke Shaw on the left-hand side is just different. Look, Sterling's good, but when Jack Grealish plays on the left-hand side, Luke Shaw looks so much better as well. Like, yeah, honestly, I feel bad for Grealish. I wish United would sign Grealish. I think most people wish United would sign Grealish. Glazers out, I agree. Let's see if we can get the Glazers out. Ooh, hit that like button for Glazers out. Please do subscribe to Alice Talks Football if you're new to the channel. If you've just seen my face and you've never seen my face before, I do daily Manchester United transfer updates. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football. I do daily live streams, 6 evenings a week. I do a Manchester United transfer news live streams. If we sign a player, I'll be live. If we're close to signing a player, I'll be live. If any big updates happen regarding Manchester United news, I'll be live. If the Glazers leave, I'll be bloody live. You know, when we sign a player, I'll be live. Watch-alongs, match reactions, match previews. I'll be doing reactions to the game in pre-season, telling you how good Sancho looks in pre-season and all of that. So for all this content, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football because we're 140 subscribers away from 15k. 140 subs away from 15k. So it'd be absolutely amazing if we can hit 15k in the next week. So please subscribe if you're not subscribed. You know, promoting the channel a lot there, but, you know, we are 140 subs away from 15k. Any questions for me, please do pop them down below in the live chat. Darren Hayes says, I think Grealish, Rashford and Sterling would be fire up front. Interesting. Rashford on the left, Sterling on the right. Grealish can possibly. Look, I'm really glad Rashford isn't playing for England. I love Marcus Rashford, and I think, you know, a fully fit Rashford at his best is better than Sterling at his best, and I think he's better than Foden, he's better than Saka and all of that. But Rashford's injured, so I'm actually really glad he's not getting minutes for England. But I still think, look, I think Bukayo Saka looked brilliant when he played. But I think surely you'd move Sterling to the right and play Grealish on the left. Surely you would want Jack Grealish on that pitch more than you want Bukayo Saka on the pitch. Surely you want Jadon Sancho on that pitch more than you want Bukayo Saka on the pitch. No disrespect to Bukayo Saka, but I still don't understand how Grealish is again. Yeah, Shaw's literally proving Jose Mourinho wrong. And the fact that Jose Mourinho is saying that Kyle Walker's been England's best fullback, like, clearly this guy doesn't know ball. You know, you'd think for a guy that won the Champions League with Porto, he'd have a bit more knowledge than that, but anyone still criticising Shaw needs to have their heads examined. I think it's just an agenda, you know. When a player plays well and you criticise them, it's just an agenda. Like, I said the first game, I think it was, what was the first game of the year? It was Croatia. I said that Sterling should not be starting over Jack Grealish. Because for me, Sterling shouldn't be starting over Jack Grealish. But Sterling plays, he scores, he plays well. I go, you know what? As much as I think Jack Grealish is better than Raheem Sterling, I will admit Sterling has been good for England. So Sterling has to start because he scored 3 goals. So I say put Sterling on the right, put Jack Grealish on the left, you know. But if I was sitting here saying Sterling shouldn't start, Sterling's awful, then that would be an agenda. And Jose Mourinho can't admit that Luke Shaw is better than Ben Chilwell and that Luke Shaw should start. And it's like, but he's been playing well, you know. I was wrong about my Sterling should start with Grealish. Well, I don't know if I was wrong, but Sterling's been brilliant. I thought Sterling might not even get called up because of how poor it was for City. He's proved me wrong. He's been fantastic for England. And I'll admit that, but Jose Mourinho will not admit that Luke Shaw has been fantastic for England because for some reason he doesn't want to admit he's wrong. And the fact that he was basically saying that Kyle Walker's been better than Luke Shaw, I just think it's an absolute joke. Grealish draws players and frees Shaw, exactly. And you've got to think Luke Shaw is one of the most creative left backs in the world, surely you'd want, Luke Shaw on the ball and having space to put crosses in because his delivery is fucking fantastic. Luke Shaw's delivery has improved so much. And one thing I'm really hoping about Man United signing Sancho is now we've got Sancho coming on that right-hand side. And I think the thing is, Man United's right-hand side has often been really, really weak. And Aaron Wan-Bissaka, yes, he's not the best going forward, but Aaron Wan-Bissaka is not as bad as anyone thinks going forward. He got more assists than Kyle Walker and Reece James combined last season. Like, Kyle Walker and Reece James, I think, combined had 5 assists. I think Wan-Bissaka got 6 assists last season. Like, Wan-Bissaka isn't as bad going forward as people think. But if Wan-Bissaka has Jadon Sancho on his right-hand side doing overlapping runs, distracting those defenders, Wan-Bissaka gets more space. And, we've seen Luke Shaw improve so much going forward. Can Wan-Bissaka show that improvement next season? Maybe with Delay putting a bit of pressure on him as well. I think we could maybe see a lot better of Wan-Bissaka and all of that. The lineup tells me Southgate's underestimating Denmark. No, this is what Southgate believes the strongest lineup is. I don't think he's underestimating Denmark. But I would personally play Sancho or Grealish. I think you need a creator on the pitch. Hope Grealish comes on at half-time. I agree. Of course, Glazer's out. Look, Glazers, you can sign Sancho. You can sign Varane. You can sign Camavinga. You can keep Paul Pogba. But I will be Glazers out unless you, A, sell the club on a free to a Saudi billionaire. Cool. Then I'll respect you. Or B, you invest hundreds of millions for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 transfer windows in a row, and we finish above Man City for the next 10 years. Then I'll be Glazers in. But for now, I'm Glazers out. 1 transfer window, still Glazers out. 4, 5, 6, 7 transfer windows. That's what I want to see from the Glazers. Glazers will be leaving one heck of a live show. When do the jerseys come out? I think apparently the jerseys have come out in the shop. I heard the Man United new shirts have come out in the shop and all of that, but I'm sure they'll be officially released when, Sancho signed and Sancho 7 and all of that. United's so predictable. Sancho wears the new jersey and all of that. Yeah, Rashford needs to cover from his ankle injury. Look, I think one big thing about getting Jadon Sancho is, I think the reason Marcus Rashford started week in, week out on the left-hand wing with an injury is because if you didn't have Marcus Rashford, you had Dan James. Drop-off was absolutely massive. I think now Martial's back, he can just play on the left, and Sancho can play just as well on the left as the right. So maybe that will give Rashford a bit more time to recover from his injury. What is the latest on Raphael Varane? Well, the latest on Raphael Varane to Manchester United is, of course, as Fabrizio Romano said, personal terms will not be an issue between Manchester United and Varane. Man United will pay the wages for Varane once Varane wants to come to Manchester United. Varane has told Real Madrid he wants to leave. PSG will not sign Varane as they have Ramos. Man United are leading the race for Varane. Personal terms isn't an issue. Varane wants to come. Real Madrid will have to sell Varane because they don't want to risk losing on a free. Now, Mark has said that Man United made a £38 million bid for Varane. However, that was rejected because Real Madrid won £50 million, but no other journalist has confirmed if that's true or not. Now, Romano says Man United are waiting to see the price for Raphael Varane before they make their first proper offer, and I think that's the situation. I think Varane is on holiday, so nothing's going to happen in the next week. I think this is something that will happen mid-end of July. I think this deal will be done mid-end of July. But Varane wants Man United. Man United want Varane. The only way Varane stays at Real Madrid is if they offer him ridiculous wages. Real Madrid will have to sell Varane if they can't keep him because they'll lose him on a free. Man United can use the fact that he's got 1 year left on his contract to drag the deal down. And I think Real Madrid will want 50, 60, 70 million pounds for Varane. Man United will be like, he's got 1 year left, 40, 50 million pounds. They'll have a bit of a twaddle. And I think United will probably end up getting Varane over the line. I'm 80% sure it happened. But I think if Real Madrid offer Varane a fuck-off massive new contract, or someone like Chelsea swoop in, pay the money quicker than us, he won't come. But I think it's 80% Varane to Manchester United. That is sort of the latest situation on Varane to Man United. And then the latest on Camavinga to Manchester United is, of course, that Man United do lead the race for Camavinga. However, they will face competition from teams like Paris Saint-Germain. But again, personal terms will not be an issue with Varane or Camavinga. And I think personal terms have been unofficially agreed between Manchester United and Varane anyway. That is a report and all of that. Please do subscribe to Alice Talks Football if you're not subscribed to the channel. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, please do subscribe to my channel. Daily Manchester United transfer live stream. So stay up to date, subscribe. If we sign Varane, there will be a live stream. When we're this close to signing Varane, or if we're this close to signing Varane, there will be a live stream. If we sign Camavinga, there'll be a live stream. If the Glazers leave, there'll be a live stream. If anything big happens, if we're close to signing a player or we sign a player, there'll be a live stream to keep you updated. So please subscribe to the channel and all of that. As I know, United transfer, I think this is going to drag on, but will be good to see Varane in the Man United shirt serial winner. I think, yeah, Varane and Camavinga deals, with Man United, we do drag on transfer deals. I think it's something that would drag on, but it'll be very, very good to see them. I agree. And all of that. This guy says, let me find the comment. I've just lost it. This guy says, Varane has always been protected with three midfielders in front of him. Casemiro, Cruz plays as CDM. Modric plays ahead of them. With no Fred and McTominay in front of Varane, will he better exposed? Now, this is the thing. Varane has played with world-class players like Ramos and Casemiro, Modric, Cruz, and all of that. And I think, Real Madrid haven't looked as good these last few years because those players aren't getting any better because they're aging. It'll be interesting to see. I think United have a better squad than Real Madrid, but obviously, 3 years ago, Real Madrid had a way better squad than Man United. I think it'll be interesting to see, is Varane being carried by Real Madrid? Is he as good as we think he is? I think, that is the question about Varane. Is he good as we think he is, or is it because he's playing with good players, I think the situation is, Ruben Diaz is a completely different centre-back next to Pepe than it is for John Stones. So, honestly, you never know. To be honest, Saka's shown more promise than expected. I agree. Andrew says that he thinks Grealish is the top 5 to 7 player in the Premier League. He needs to be playing as much as possible for England, and hopefully he will at least come on as an impact sub tonight. I agree. I think if it's 0-0 or we're not winning by the 60th minute, Grealish has to come on 60th minute. Unless we're winning 3-4-0 by the 60th minute, Grealish has to come on for me. But Southgate is a bit like Ollie. He's a bit like Ollie. But yeah, I'm very, very excited for the game. How are you guys feeling about the game? Everybody put your score predictions in for the game down below, actually. It'll be really interesting to see what your score predictions are. It will be a dream to sign Varane plus a decent CDM. I completely agree. Why doesn't Sancho start? He just prefers Saka, He prefers Mount to Grealish. He prefers everyone to Grealish. He prefers Sancho to Saka. It's a manager's preference, Jose Mourinho would play Danny Rose over Luke Shaw. Jose Mourinho would generally probably bring in Danny Rose to England if he was England manager over Luke Shaw. It is what it is. Managers just have weird preferences. Look, Saka's a great player, though. I'm not going to compare Saka to Danny Rose. Saka's a great player. He's looked well. I'm not going to be angry about Saka starting. Fair enough. He's a good player, but Sancho is better. Grealish is better. Move Sterling to the right, put Grealish on the left. That's better. But yeah, it is what it is. Managers just have crazy preferences, don't they? And all of that. Camavinga is a Pogba replacement. Well, Fabrizio Romano says, whether Pogba stays or whether Pogba goes, United is still going to go for Camavinga. It's not a Pogba replacement. That's what he said the other day. Fabrizio Romano also said that Man United will offer Luke Shaw a new contract. They want to keep Bruno to extend his contract, and obviously United want Pogba to extend his contract and all of that. Romano did confirm that. I'm a bit burpy today, so very, very sorry about that. Excited for the game, obviously. Romano said there's still no big update for Camavinga, same as last. Manchester United are leading the race. He said that on his Here We Go podcast. And in the next few weeks, Romano said there'll be an update if Donny van der Beek stays at Manchester United, which brings me on to my next topic now. I think a journalist from ESPN, I think it was Julian's, said that Van der Beek could be involved in a swap deal for Raphael Varane to drag the price down. We want Varane. We're thinking maybe we can use Van der Beek to drag the deal down, or Van der Beek loan, or all of that. But I do think that United won't do any swap deals or loan deals. I think it will all be money. And L'Equipe, a pretty reliable source, says PSG are indeed thinking of signing Paul Pogba this summer. Seduced by the prospect of joining PSG could go for a 50-60 million pound bid for Paul Pogba. And I think the only way Paul Pogba leaves this summer is if, we go for 50-60 million pounds, honestly. But yeah. Any questions for me, please do put them down below in the live chat. And of course, subscribe to Alice Talks Football to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, and all of that as we prepare for the England game. Rice or Camavinga? Rice, let's see. Camavinga, better value for money, will probably be a better player than Declan Rice. But if you're talking about instant impact, Declan Rice would have a better instant impact. Declan Rice comes in, Pogba, Bruno plays 2-8s. I think first 2 or 3 seasons, Declan Rice would be better than Camavinga. But if we're talking value for money, Camavinga's better. If you're talking about potential, Camavinga's better. If you're talking about the long term, I think Camavinga's better, but I think short term, Declan Rice. But value for money, Camavinga. Nick Morris says Sancho, Varane, Camavinga, Tavernier, or Trippier, and any of the others signed with Pogba staying, but still Glazers out. Yeah, that's what I'd like to see as well. I agree. Andrew says, as of now, we only have Sancho, which took over a year. Can't say this is a great window until it closes. Yeah, The thing is, I think we've got a lot of promise. We feel like this is going to be a good window, but if the window closes and we don't sign Varane or Camavinga, it's not a good transfer window. It's gone from looking like a good transfer window to actually being a shit transfer window. As brilliant as signing Sancho was, centre back and CDM is way more important than Sancho because our attack is good anyway. Last season our problem was not scoring goals. Last season our problem was Lindelof and Mcguire not working like a pace of McFred, and we haven't addressed McFred and we haven't addressed Lindelof yet. So yeah, we have to judge our transfer window of CDM and centre back, and when that happens at the end of the window, because if we don't sign a CDM and centre back, then it would be a very, very poor window and all of that. Jadon Sancho says, I say owners should sign contracts with the club and renew if committing to it, so Man United could easily be on a free after what the Glazers have done. I mean, if that was possible, but very possible. Any news on CDM? Well, Camavinga is the only CDM we're being linked to. If we sign Camavinga, we won't get Rice. We are interested in Rice, but I think that depends on the future of Paul Pogba. Look, Camavinga is the only player that right now, CDM that we're in for, and that doesn't depend on if Pogba stays or goes. We want Camavinga. If Pogba goes, I think Declan Rice news heats up. Okay? Camavinga has nothing to do with the future of Paul Pogba. I think the CDM situation is if Pogba goes, then I think the Rice news will heat up. I think that is the CDM situation, all of that. But yeah, any news on Van de Beek? I heard someone from Twitter might be involved in a loan deal for Varane transfer. That is a rumour, but not much update on that. But it was a quite reliable source. Mcguire or Ruben Diaz? I think Diaz is better, but Mcguire is better for country. Diaz is better for club. I think, to be fair, if Mcguire and Diaz was a partnership, it would be a very, very good partnership. But I think I'd have to say Diaz. Diaz is better. But I think Mcguire is underrated, I think because of his price tag, and all of that. I think Maguire's look brilliant. Maguire's look better in the Euros. And this is the thing I don't get. Is Man City players will be like, Bruno's so shit in the Euros, this is why Kevin De Bruyne is clear. And I'll admit Kevin De Bruyne is better than Bruno. But I could literally say Mcguire is clear of Diaz because he's been better in the Euros. Use your logic. You're saying that Mcguire is shit and Diaz is the best, but Diaz is shit in the Euros. And then Man City fans will use the fact that Bruno is shit in the Euros to say De Bruyne is better. No, I think De Bruyne and Diaz are better than Mcguire and Bruno. But, I feel like logic these days in football, sometimes they just don't make sense, do they? If Varane is brought, should Lindelof be sold for some money and keep Tuanzebe and buy as third and fourth options? He's worth some money. I mean, I would do that. But the thing is, Lindelof has a really good injury record. And the thing is, if something happens to Varane, you can't always rely on Baye or Tuanzebe to be fit. Now, I think Baye and Tuanzebe are better than Lindelof, but I would keep Lindelof as backup just because of his injury record. I think Phil Jones is the first centre back that's got to go. And at the end of the day, I think if you can get 20 million for Eric Baye, get 20 million for Baye, I think I'd almost keep Lindelof around for backup just because of his injury record. What do you think will happen with Martial? Won't Cavani be starting more games now? I think Martial's going to stay. It's going to be difficult to sign him. Martial gets linked to leaving a lot, because the English media go in on him. But I think Martial will stay, and I think Martial's going to have a good season. I think he's going to stay and have a good season. Alice, have you started liking the Glazers now, all the signings? No, I don't like the Glazers. I will never like the Glazers unless we have 10 good transfer windows in a row and they invest and they act like proper owners. I'm never going to be Glazers in. Matthew Doherty says, Camavinga is great, but he won't start next year. Would rather have a proper DM so he can play with Pogba and Bruno, and fair enough. Especially with Ollie, we all thought that Donny would play over McTominay and Fred, and he never did. So a player like Camavinga that's less experienced than Donny, it does make you worry and all of that, doesn't it? Alice, what's the situation with Pogba? PSG want him. Look, Pogba either stays and possibly runs down his contract. If Man United, if Pogba stays and Man United invest and we look good next season, signs a new contract. If Pogba stays, Man United shit next season, leaves on a free, or he goes to PSG for 50, 60 million pounds. But I think Pogba really wants Real Madrid, and Real Madrid can't afford him, let's be honest. So if he wants to downgrade to the French league, he'll leave. But I think I think a lot of indication is that Pogba will just stay and either leave on a free, but there's a chance that he could go to PSG. There's a chance he could sign to PSG. This guy says, don't sign Camavinga. Ollie lives with Fred and won't play and waste their money. Are you right, Alice? That is my fear, but I think Camavinga is such a brilliant player. He's such a brilliant player, and I think him and Pogba would work so well in the pivot. How can we be proud being a Man United supporter when we see our women's team move to the PFA about how badly the club is run? The club is run awful. The club is run badly from top to bottom. The stadium needs doing. The Glazers need to go. It's not just the women's team, it's the stadium. There's a lot of problems with Manchester United. I agree. People asking me for a Varane update. Okay, Look, I'm going to just give you all the transfer news in about 2 minutes. Varane wants to come to Manchester United. Personal terms unofficially agreed. Man United will pay the wages Varane wants. Varane wants to leave Real Madrid. Varane wants a new challenge. Varane wants to come to United. United want Varane. United dropped interest in Pau Torres and Jules Koundé because United thought they're going to get Varane because they beat PSG to Varane because Ramos has gone to PSG. United want Varane. Varane wants United. Personal terms not an issue. Wages will be paid. Boom, boom, boom. Real Madrid have realised they have to sell Varane or convince him to stay. They can only convince him to stay if they offer him ridiculous wages. They've just offered Alaba ridiculous wages. They're in a financial crisis. They probably won't do that. So Real Madrid will have to sell Varane. Now, Real Madrid want to hold out for 50, 60 million pounds. United are like, it's got 1 year left on the deal. You've got to sell. United want 40 million pounds. United are playing the waiting game to see how much Real Madrid are willing to sell Varane for and see if they can get for cheaper. The question is, either Varane stays because Real Madrid offer him ridiculous wages, or he goes to Man United or someone like Chelsea swoops in. But Varane to Man United, for me, 80% likely. That's the latest for Varane. The Camavinga latest is United want Camavinga. It doesn't matter if Pogba stays or goes. He could be 30 million pounds. We are front runners to sign Camavinga. Personal terms between Man United and Camavinga wouldn't be an issue. Camavinga is open to moving to Manchester United. Can Man United beat PSG for Camavinga? So that is the Varane latest. That's the Camavinga latest for you. Brandon Williams could be going on loan to Southampton. Delo looks likely to stay unless someone puts a significant bid in for him. Donny van de Beek could potentially be used in a swap deal and all of that. That is sort of the latest Manchester United news and transfer news for all of you guys there. But I'm going to end the live stream now because the football match is in just under 20 minutes. England versus Denmark. Can it come home? Come on, England. I'm really excited for the match tonight. England, Denmark, and all of that. So if you put any live comments, any live chats in the live, please just subscribe to the channel, put notifications on. And if I wasn't able to answer any of your live chats, just comment in tomorrow's live stream. I'll be live again tomorrow night. So any questions I didn't answer in today's live stream, just subscribe, put the bell on, put them in tomorrow's live stream. I will try and answer them. So yeah, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football for daily Manchester United news, content, match reviews, match reactions, watch-alongs, and more. To stay up to date, subscribe to Alice Talks Football. Hit that like button, share the video. Thank you everybody for tuning into the live stream. I'm going to go watch the England game, but good live stream. Thanks for watching. See you next time.